Before we get to the movie, I want to talk to you about Popeye.
Aye.
Not the Robert Altman film. I'd like you to complete this phrase for me. He's Popeye the Sailor Man. He lives in a garbage can.
He turned on the gas and burned off his ass. He's Popeye the Sailor Man. But there's also a wiener variation.
Oh yeah, he turned on the something and burned up his wiener.
He's Popeye the Sailor Man.
This is what I grew up with. Popeye the Sailor Man lives in a garbage can. He likes to go swimming with bald-headed women.
Oh.
And there's two other variations of that. He likes to go swimming with bow-legged women. He likes to go swimming with bare-naked women.
In the pilot episode of The Simpsons, Bart sings Jingle Bell, Batman Smells, Robin Lays an Egg, etc.
Yes.
We've talked about that song on the show before. Watching it, I thought, they know that song. It's a song that's just out there. It's like, oh, we sang it at St. John Vianney in Janesville, Wisconsin. But you also sang it in Milwaukee.
Kids still sing it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, and
Kids still say, I don't, shut up, I grow up, when I look at you, I throw up. They still say that.
how did that spread? It spread from one kid to another. This is before the internet. That was just something that was just out there in the atmosphere. And also, who taught you how to play The Floor is Lava? That's just something that every kid figures out that game. The floor is lava or the floor is alligators.
Well, for us, the floor was sharks.
Yeah, it's just passed along like the chickenpox virus.
Military kids.
Military kids?
They're always moving around. They move every year or so. They're the ones who are spreading it around. I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. September means only one thing, that summer is about to end. That doesn't mean we need to forget things that happened suddenly last summer.
Oh, spicy. Hello.
Released in 1959, the star power in SLS is blinding. It stars Elizabeth Taylor, Katharine Hepburn, Montgomery Clift. Directed by Joseph Mankiewicz, written by Gore Vidal, based on a play by Tennessee Williams. This movie has quite the pedigree. At this time, Montgomery Clift was heavily addicted to prescription drugs and alcohol as a result of a car crash in 1956. He had a tough time with the shooting schedule. He needed to film his scenes in small increments, which irritated the director, Joe Mankiewicz, who repeatedly asked producer Sam Spiegel to fire and replace Clift. Legend has it that Katharine Hepburn was so incensed by the director's treatment of her friend Monty that when he called cut on her final scene, she spat in his face.
Really?
Legend has it. In a 1960 interview, John Wayne called this film, quote, poison polluting Hollywood's moral bloodstream.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Tennessee Williams claimed that this film made him throw up.
Oh, well then maybe it won't be. So we're going to be seeing some of the best actors ever. I'm not the biggest Liz Taylor fan, but she's good. But Hepburn and Clift, that's as good as it gets. So I'm very excited about this.
What does your gift have to do with this movie? Not a damn thing. It has to do with a different movie that we've talked about on this show. A movie whose soundtrack moves you to a state of misty-eyed wistfulness. Imagine if you could achieve that state anytime you want, at just the drop of a needle. I give to you The Umbrellas of Cherbourg on vinyl.
Wow. Thank you for this. It has the lyrics if you want to sing along at home.
To the whole thing?
A tout de suite, François, reste tranquille.
Put that rake down, stop raking those leaves, because you can go to the old leather couch and enjoy a little bit more of summer with Suddenly Last Summer.
Suddenly.
Yeah.
Mercedes McCambridge.
Oh yeah, she's in this too.
Who is that?
She was the voice of Satan in The Exorcist.
Oh, I was just reading a thing about her yesterday. Sam Spiegel, he was someone. With a name like that, you know that he's like one of the cigar-chomping producers.
Yeah, right.
It's New Orleans, 1937.
Our story begins at the Lions View Mental Asylum. All of these women think they're Napoleon. That's why they're all in here.
But there is one way out of being ravingly insane, and that's Dr. Kukrovitz.
Now you're going to witness an operation never performed before.
Certainly not by the shaky hands of a strung-out Montgomery Clift. The lobotomy.
A little cut here and a cut there, and then you feel fine.
Whack, whack, whack. Whack.
This place is run down.
Whack, whack, whack. Need more light. Whack.
You have just witnessed a delicate operation on the human brain.
Booyah. Clift out. Later on, he's chatting with his colleague, Dr. Hochstetter.
There's this rich lady who may be donating a bunch of money to the hospital. Her name is Violet Venerable. Or Violet Venable.
Venable.
Violet Venable.
Violet.
I said violent.
You've been invited by her.
That's a command performance.
And it will be a performance. You will sing and tap.
So he tells Dr. K to go see her. Miss Venable makes a dramatic entrance to greet the doctor. Enter Hepburn on dumbwaiter.
I'm sorry, your name?
Kukrovic.
Kukrovitz.
It's a Polish word meaning sugar.
Dr. Sugar.
Dr. Sugar is my favorite medical blaxploitation movie. He finds out that her husband and her son Sebastian are both dead.
Let me tell you all about Sebastian in this jungle garden that he made.
This is where I hunt, Dr. Kuklowitz. I hunt the most dangerous game.
And if you want money for your little hospital,
You will survive one night.
This operation you perform is called
Lobotomy.
lobotomy!
Lobotomy!
the Venus flytrap, a devouring organism.
And a powerful metaphor that will make itself clear in a little while.
In a field as experimental as mine, particularly at a state hospital like Lions View. But we have very little money.
But what she talks about most is Sebastian, who she loved in such a creepy way. You see, they used to go traveling every single summer. People would talk about them not as parent and child, but like they were a couple. Eee.
Suddenly last summer.
Your son died.
And also she has a niece who seems to be a trifle bit insane.
She suffers from something called
Rock and roll pneumonia and boogie woogie blues. Boogie woogie flu, I'm sorry.
You see why I said urgent.
Yes.
It's urgent. Da-da-da-na-na-na-na. So urgent.
I understand, but the important thing is you.
Turns out she wants something in exchange for her money. She wants Dr. K to give her niece Catherine one of those lobotomies.
She's been babbling on a bunch of nonsense about Sebastian, so take out her brain, please.
But what a blessing to them, Doctor, to be just peaceful. To be just suddenly.
Last summer.
She talks about an experience that she and her son Sebastian had on a beach.
Suddenly.
Last summer.
We saw those birds one summer in the Pacific.
Suddenly, in Galapagos, they saw the turtles. The big turtles would lay the eggs and leave, and then the baby turtles would hatch.
And the birds come. Oh, the birds.
As the new hatched sea turtles made their dash to the sea while the birds hovered and swooped to attack.
This same thing happened on Ren and Stimpy. No, the little turtles!
And rending and eating their flesh. Forgive me if I sound quite mad, but it's true all the same.
Forgive me if I sound quite mad is in every Tennessee Williams play.
That we are all of us trapped by this devouring creation.
Wait, are we the birds or the turtles? Or are we the sand?
And spent the whole blazing equatorial day in
Eating baby turtles. I couldn't help myself. The birds made them look so good.
until it was too dark to see.
This is my son, Sebastian.
Until suddenly last summer, I learned my son was right.
Sebastian thought that was the face of God. A heartless God ruling over a cruel world. They leave the solarium and find out that Mrs. Holly and her son George are there. That's Catherine's mother. That's Mercedes McCambridge.
Said since I was finally going off to college, I could have cousin Sebastian's clothes.
Because I'm a growing, catfish-eating boy and I need new clothes.
Dr. Kukrovitz.
Doctor.
Your mother sucks on hell.
All laughing and carrying on and saying those witty, sophisticated things that were way over my poor head.
Like I read a book.
This must have been taken last spring, see?
Slowly last spring.
Well, we must fly now.
And we need to eat some turtles.
Fine, Father. Thanks.
I gotta go eat me a mess of taters.
Please, sit on it.
Said the Fonz. That doesn't sound crazy. You know who's crazy? My niece. You should go meet her.
Dr. K leaves and he goes to the St. Mary's Asylum to meet with Catherine. On Fridays, she serves fish and chips out of that hat,
Is Kathy crazy? No, she just wants a cigarette.
which causes a confrontation with one of the nuns.
I'm putting out my handful.
Yes! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Wow. That was some Catholic school coming out there.
Where are you from?
Lions View.
Where they keep the tigers?
See, we all love Sebastian. Women, men, children, animal, mineral, vegetable.
Turtle. But the doctor wants to know how Sebastian died. It happened while you were traveling abroad with him.
Last summer.
But it did happen at the beach of Cabeza de Lobos.
And the music, the drums. Oh, the drums!
And that awful noise they made.
It was Stomp! I couldn't handle it. She simply can't remember how Sebastian died. She's blocked it out. The doctor says, let me help you.
She impulsively kisses him. Whoa, hello.
Dr. Hochstetter is excited. Miss Van Abel is going to donate $1 million to the asylum after this operation is done. I think that jacket only existed in the 50s. When it turned 1960, they all just disappeared, like Mormons. Just called up to heaven. Those jackets just disappeared.
I'm not certain that a lobotomy is the best thing for Kathy. I need to investigate this longer. Now, I've put her in the fancy part of the asylum over by the nurses, let her wear her own clothes, and I let her smoke a bunch of cigarettes to see if she acts sane or if she keeps acting crazy.
This is very unorthodox.
It's unorthodox.
Strikes me your whole approach has very little to do with neurosurgery.
Maybe it's neurosurgery.
Neurosurgery.
New. Mama Holly and Brother George come and pay a visit.
I'm wearing one of his suits.
Ignore all the cornbread crumbs and chicken grease.
Thank you.
Jump cut, what are you doing here? You get out of here. They inform Catherine that they found Sebastian's will.
To you and to me, $50,000 each after taxes are paid.
She finds out all about the big L that's in store for her, and she doesn't like that one bit.
It's called a lobotomy.
Mother, you know I'd rather have a bottle in front of me. She runs away and finds herself in a room with a bunch of crazy men.
Oh, look at that, it's Ava Gardner.
And they start hooting and hollering and jangling around and jumping for her. She panics. She's taken back to her room and given a sedative.
Now you just relax now.
Sedative?
I should hire someone to dust my car when I'm not in it.
Mrs. Van Abel comes to visit. Her hat is from the Andy Warhol collection. And they have a long chat about who else? Sebastian. He could drive her insane. All he needs to do is leave the room and then come back in a turtle costume.
Miss Catherine.
Is this the proper way of waking up someone who might be crazy? Wake up! Matt, wake up!
Aunt Violet,
Wow, you dressed like Sideshow Bob.
I am disturbed.
I'm straight up loco! All Catherine needs is a helmet and a padlock.
She sees where she is doomed to be once she gets the slicety slice in her head. The doctor decides to bring everyone together in Sebastian's favorite place.
He gives Catherine a little injection and he says, I want you to tell the truth.
Truth is at the bottom of a bottomless well.
I want you to let go of all your resistance and all your inhibitions. Remember the story.
Let me.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Well, doctor, you're fired.
Hochstetter doesn't bat an eye. This is normal behavior at Lion's Cove.
You're going to tell the true story.
One summer, suddenly, Sebastian decided that she's going to travel with him instead of Mama. They go to the Amalfi Coast.
Suddenly, last summer, that he began to be restless.
He buys her a very revealing bathing suit to attract the attention of those beach boys.
I was procuring for him.
Sebastian hands out money to these waifs in return for who knows what. But the boys get more and more aggressive.
We had a late lunch at a shabby, lonely restaurant by the sea there.
Zagat rated, shabby and lonely. One day they come along the beach with their banging instruments. Oh, the music, the drums, the percussion.
Instruments of percussion, do you know what I mean?
Yes, instruments of percussion like drums.
Cymbals, you know?
Yes, brass plates hit together.
That's right. Tin cans flattened out and clashed together, cymbals.
Yeah, we get it. Percussion instruments.
Sebastian's the delicate sort. He needs to get away from this noise and this tension. His heart won't take it. He runs through the hot sun. Finally, he can run no more. The boys set upon him, and they eat him.
Like he's a little turtle, and they're a bunch of birds.
They had devoured him! Oh, Kathy.
That story is so cray-cray. Catherine finally remembers, and this massive weight that has been making her appear insane is lifted off of her and dropped onto Violet, who now thinks that Dr. K is Sebastian. Now, she's gone off her rocker, and she's gotten on her elevator, and she goes zoop up into the ceiling, and that is the end of Suddenly Last Summer.
Well, I've decided I'm going to give this whole house a lobotomy. The house itself.
I have another quote here from John Wayne about Suddenly Last Summer. He said it is, quote, too disgusting even for discussion. But we're going to discuss it, aren't we?
Yes!
We're going to
Yes,
go
we
where
are.
the Duke feared to tread. Mm-hmm. Suddenly Last Summer. Truth is at the bottom of a bottomless well.
Oh, Sebastian said that. He's so brilliant. He's a poet, you know.
I want to talk about the truth. I want to get to the bottom of some of these things that the movie was forced to talk around because it was 1959. Sebastian and his mother had an unhealthily intimate relationship, but not a physical relationship because he liked to hustle the young boys out on the beach.
That's right.
They had a kind of husband and wife intimacy.
Yes. It
Okay.
was a very romantic relationship.
And Sebastian was killed and eaten by a group of young boys.
Yes. As happens. I went to Spain once, too.
Tennessee Williams believed that Elizabeth Taylor was miscast. I will now attempt to do my best Tennessee Williams impersonation.
Okay.
It stretched my credulity to believe such a hip doll as our Liz wouldn't know at once in the film that she was being used for something evil. Well, what did you think of the movie?
The plot of it, I love. But it's the telling of it, which is too stretched out, too gaudy in its mellifluity. I lose my patience with that.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of experience watching Montgomery Clift. You have?
I've seen a couple of his movies, yeah.
How was this performance for you? It seemed to me very stiff.
Well, I think his whole body was stiff, possibly because he just had it reassembled in the recent past. When you watch him and he's really going, you can feel his entire soul.
Yeah.
And it's a very weighty soul that he'll lay it on you. Also, there's this tremendous kindness that he can bring to his characters, which should have been there more in this, because, you know, he is playing a kindly doctor who does lobotomies.
But it's a very flat character and a very flat performance.
It's a very odd Montgomery Clift performance where he's not the person you're watching the most.
Yeah. So for people who are of our generation, you may know that in the 80s there was a rock group called the Motels, and they had two hits, I believe. There was a song called Only the Lonely and a song called Suddenly Last Summer.
Basically the same song.
In the intervening years, as those songs faded into my memory, I thought they were the same song. The Suddenly Last Summer lyrics I remembered would seamlessly go right into the chorus of Only the Lonely. In fact, I thought it was called Only the Lonely, parentheses, Suddenly Last Summer. But they're two different songs.
He gives me hand, he
Takes all my will,
then
suddenly last summer.
Is this our first Southern Gothic movie?
I think so.
What is Southern Gothic?
Tennessee Williams. Faulkner.
Yeah. Plays off the wilted past of the South. Usually some sort of weird family in a weird house, which this has. Insanity is not unheard of.
There's these relatives that are sort of hangers-on, like in Cat on a Tin Roof.
There's a heat to it, of course, because it's the South. And this movie's so hot that it actually has a jungle within it. I kept wanting him to say, you know, I'm a surgeon, I'm not a psychiatrist.
I shouldn't be counseling you in private.
Yes. But maybe that's how we can get away with kissing her.
Yeah, which he does.
She kisses him.
Yeah, but he lets her.
Yeah, I know. You should, yeah.
Yeah, doctor's supposed to say, please. Catherine, don't. Having Violet make her entrance in that weird elevator, that was such a nice touch. It just immediately tells you, this is a very weird woman.
Yes, it is. And then you find out, oh, she just put this in.
Well, Suddenly Last Summer has come to a not-so-sudden end, and now it is time for us to turn our attention to Seen It.
Seen it.
Today, apropos of nothing, our theme is the 80s Cable Roundup.
Woohoo!
Movies we saw on cable in the 80s.
ERCRD writes, watch a sports movie, Major League. Seen it.
Seen It. Major League is a textbook sports comedy, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say about the movie, but I have plenty to say about that summer when they filmed Major League in my hometown, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at the now defunct County Stadium.
It's not defunct, it's demolished, thank God. That thing was ugly. Brutalist architecture. Boom.
We were all so excited. I was in a summer program, like a work-study program, at the UW Milwaukee, and there were a big group of us teenagers, and it seemed like every day people would say, are you going to County Stadium tonight? They're filming tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I went last night. We were there for 12 hours. And everyone was just so excited. We would all wonder, is Charlie Sheen on Water Street right now? Is Tom Berenger at the Pfister Hotel? Yes, we have a hotel called the Pfister.
No, it's a beautiful hotel.
PF. Robin Faulkner, seen it. Honky tonk freeway. There's a water skiing elephant. What more do you need in a movie? Seen it.
I've not seen this.
I
was thinking when you first brought it up, maybe I've seen it, I've just forgotten. And then you mentioned the water skiing elephant. I can say I have not seen it.
This is a movie that probably many people have seen and forgotten. It stars Howard Hessman, which should give you an indication of the quality of the movie.
Oh.
All respect to Howard Hessman, Basement alum, but as a leading man in a movie, not really.
He's a supporting actor.
I only remember one scene. It stars little Ricky Schroeder, pre-Silver Spoons, and his family. I believe Hessman is his father. They have this big RV, and it has a bathroom in it, but he won't use the bathroom in the RV. They've got to stop so he can use the bathroom. And they're on a honky-tonk freeway, so sometimes the traffic gets heavy, and the little boy is trapped in the RV. He has to go to the bathroom, and he's sweating. And I just thought that scene was so horrifying. Because I knew that movies weren't real, but I still believed that little boy actor really has to go to the bathroom.
We've all been 10 miles from the nearest exit
Yes.
with a full bladder.
On freeways, honky-tonk, or otherwise.
Yes. Calvin J. Luther writes, Gentlemen, have you seen Lethal Weapon? If so, then what say you? I say seen it.
I'm getting too old for this shit, but nevertheless, I have seen it. I think The Road Warrior made Mel Gibson a star, but Lethal Weapon made him a superstar.
I think that there's a direct link between Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome and Lethal Weapon, because Thunderdome proved that Mel Gibson could do comedy, and so he could be put into this action movie, which relied on a lot of comedy.
Lethal Weapon is one of those movies I just watch it over and over again because it's so fun and it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And I believe the villain was Gary Busey.
He was one of the villains, yeah.
Now we see him as this buffoon, but he was really scary in that movie.
Yeah, he used to be a good actor.
He's Oscar nominated.
Yeah. I believe, if I recall, the end of the movie, when Gary Busey and Mel Gibson finally fight.
On the lawn in the rain.
On the lawn, surrounded by cops. And Danny Glover's like, wait a minute. Let's let them do this. This is not how cops are supposed to act.
No, not at all.
They're supposed to stop the bad guy. They're not like, let's see if the bad guy can kill this maverick cop.
Jenny, just Jenny. Seen it. The Burbs. Seen it.
Seen it in the theaters.
I remember it being funny as hell. It's got a great cast. Brother Theodore, Bruce Dern, Henry Gibson.
Henry Gibson, yes.
And it's just such a delightfully weird and creepy movie. But they mess up the ending.
The ending of that movie is about 4 or 5 endings too long.
It's building toward an ending that you're expecting. Mm-hmm. And then it gives you an ending you don't expect. And you say, oh, this ending is so much better than the one I was expecting. And then they give you a second ending, which is the ending you expect.
I have to say that I disagree with you in the assessment of the movie other than the ending. I did not enjoy this movie. I did not find it funny at all, except for the 666 scene. That was brilliant, with the bees on the porch. Because I didn't see that coming. It did give us the words pizza dude, which I will always be thankful for. Because still, I call pizza delivery boys pizza dudes. I used to be a pizza dude myself.
I have something that you can do suddenly or in a slow, measured fashion, whichever you prefer. You can visit our website, welcometothebasementshow.com. We have all of our episodes there that we've ever made. And there's also PayPal donation buttons you can click on to help support this show with a one-time or rolling monthly donation.
If you do that, we promise you that boys won't eat you.
One of our donors is Eric, who says, thank you for all your work and insight. There's no one else I'd rather listen to when it comes to discussing film. Thanks.
Hey, thank you.
To find out who the rest of our donors are and to see the exciting contents of our crate of mail, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday. We just watched Suddenly last summer. Sometimes other things happen suddenly.
Looks like I have written down here farter essay.
I doubt it.
Oh, escape, something. Failed escape.
Farter escape.
Farter escape, yeah. I've had those. I'm like, oh, I gotta get out of here.
I am disturbed.